Mr. Diluc is like a fine wine, but with too much ice. The first sip tastes heavenly, but drink too much and it gives you brain freeze. Sung by Joss, the six-fingered bard at Angel's Share, before being kicked out by bartender Charles. People in Mondstadt like to have a glass of dandelion wine after a long day. As your vision begins to waver and mind starts to wander, refraining from pouring another one seems impossible. The constant flow of brews keeps Diluc, operator of Mondstadt's biggest supplier, Dawn Winery, firmly in the position of the richest man in Mondstadt. But what no one can make sense of is, despite building his enterprise on wine, Diluc has never touched a single drop, no matter the occasion. When asked by outsiders as to why, his response is always the same, a polite, yet mysterious and faint smile that always brings about a multitude of guesses. But this question is never asked by anyone at the winery, for they have all long since known the answer: Diluc simply doesn't like wine. As the city of ballads and wines, Mondstadt's alcohol industry is renowned all over Teyvat. As owner of the Dawn Winery, Diluc is essentially in charge of half the industry. This means he has a huge stream of revenue and an entire network of information, in the form of tavern patrons' gossip, right at his fingertips. In a way, he is the uncrowned king of Mondstadt. The scent of wine always lingers in the air in Mondstadt. If one were to follow the scent to its source, one would invariably arrive at Diluc's Dawn Winery. A wooden plaque proudly announces the winery's name, and beneath it is written the winery's motto, "Shine True." Most interpret this to mean that the wines are brewed for consistency of taste, with time-honored techniques and that same healthy dose of sunny optimism that the dawn brings. Meanwhile, the more pragmatic knights of Favonius are reminded of the long history of mutual support between the winery and the city. The winery holds festivities from time to time. These events are routinely attended by enthusiastic fathers, eager to introduce their wonderful daughters to the young and single winery master. This is all highly entertaining to the other guests, who watch on and comment mockingly, "We'd much rather Master Diluc stays married to the winery, given how good this wine is." Diluc deals impeccably with all situations, no matter who or what comes his way. Diluc is a fine young gentleman in every conceivable respect. Diluc avoids talking about the past. If only Diluc were still a member of the Knights. After a few drinks, senior knights will say words to this effect with a sigh. They refer to events from a long time ago, back when Diluc's father, Master Crepus, was still the owner of the winery. Master Crepus' wish was for his son to become the most esteemed knight of all and safeguard Mondstadt, the city of freedom. As per his father's wishes, Diluc trained rigorously to make himself worthy of the Ragnvender name. Sure enough, he passed the Knights of Favonius trials, swore the oath of protection to Mondstadt, and entered their ranks. Before long, he received an early promotion which saw him become the youngest ever cavalry captain. Over the course of his missions and patrols, the denizens of Mondstadt gradually came to know this young and passionate cavalry captain. No matter what the missions demanded from him, he always maintained his composure and his passion. No matter how big the challenge before him, his boundless courage always led him to the front line. The praise he received from his comrades and citizens spurred him on, but the words of praise he valued most of all were, "Good job, now that's my son." His father's words fueled the fire inside his heart and served as his greatest motivation. His faith was an unquenchable fire that burned strong and bright inside him. Diluc was so young back then. Diluc avoids talking about the past. If only Diluc were still a member of the Knights. After a few drinks, Senior knights will say words to this effect with a sigh. They refer to events from a long time ago, back when Diluc's father, Master Crepus, was still the owner of the winery. Master Crepus' wish was for his son to become the most esteemed knight of all and safeguard Mondstadt, the city of freedom. As per his father's wishes, Diluc trained rigorously to make himself worthy of the Ragnvandr name. Sure enough, he passed the Knights of Favonius trials, swore the oath of protection to Mondstadt, and entered their ranks. Before long, he received an early promotion which saw him become the youngest ever cavalry captain. Over the course of his missions and patrols, the denizens of Mondstadt gradually came to know this young and passionate cavalry captain. No matter what the missions demanded from him, he always maintained his composure and his passion. No matter how big the challenge before him, his boundless courage always led him to the front line. The praise he received from his comrades and citizens spurred him on, but the words of praise he valued most of all were, "Good job. Now, that's my son." His father's words fueled the fire inside his heart and served as his greatest motivation. His faith was an unquenchable fire that burned strong and bright inside him. Diluc was so young back then. Sometimes life can change in an instant. The day that Crepus spoke these words to Diluc would turn out to be the latter's last as a knight of Favonius. For on that day, a horrific monster attacked the transport fleet he and his father were traveling with. There was no time for Diluc to send for help. The monster was stronger than any foe the young cavalry captain had ever encountered and overpowered him. Diluc could never have anticipated the way this battle would end. His father, who had been denied admittance into the Knights and who was shunned by the gods, defeated the monster with an unknown evil power before that same power backfired, mortally wounding Crepus himself. Crepus died shortly after in his son's arms. With a heavy heart, Diluc returned to the Knights' headquarters, only to receive an unthinkable order from Inspector Iraq: conceal the truth. Iraq insisted that the incident must be portrayed as an unfortunate accident in order to maintain the reputation of the Knights of Favonius in the eyes of the public. Such was the sheer outrageousness of this request that Diluc did not think it was even worth trying to argue. Diluc's father had once said to him that the world would never turn its back on the faithful, but now the Knights of Favonius trampled on his faith like it was nothing. He couldn't help but wonder, what was his father's view on faith in his final moments? Diluc resigned from the Knights that day and left everything behind, including his vision. He swore to avenge his father's death and to find the source of that occult power which had caused his father's demise. After Diluc resigned and discarded his vision, he handed the running of the Dawn Winery over to the head housemaid and left Mondstadt altogether. Diluc traveled all across the 7 nations of Teyvat in search of the truth. All clues pointed toward a behemoth of an organization, the Fatui. He learned that they made counterfeit visions in secret, calling them delusions. A delusion could amplify the power of its bearer to its extreme, but also carried the risk of backfiring. That was what had caused his father's death. Was it possible that his father could have obtained such a sacrilegious item in order to do good? Diluc knew he may never know the full truth, but that could never stop him from pursuing it. Like an eagle scouring the wilderness, he set off on his hunt for the truth. Determination burned like fire in his heart. Unfathomable enigmas and unending battles could not sway him from his course. He pressed on relentlessly, scarred but undeterred, like a fiery tornado burning through the dense fog of mystery. The Fatter's rulers, the Harbingers, monitored Diluc's progress from the shadows. The prowess with which he laid waste to numerous Fatui strongholds caught their attention and forced them to take action. Diluc narrowly escaped death at the hands of the Harbingers thanks to a third-party observer from the north who was part of a vast underground intelligence network. The observer claimed to have been watching Diluc for some time and approved of his methods. After his close encounter with death, Diluc took a long, hard look at his past and the anger he had harbored for so long. Acknowledging his shortcomings, he decided to join the underground intelligence network. Just like when he first joined the Knights of Favonius, Diluc committed himself fully to his work. His talents and skills saw him rise steadily through the ranks into the upper echelons of the network. The network was made up of volunteers, and many of its members had willingly given up their prior positions and reputations to join. Some had even abandoned their names. Could working with these new comrades finally restore the faith he once clung to? The faith that had been all but destroyed in the events surrounding his father's death. Shine true, the background to this motto is hotly contested, but to Diluc it has one simple, clear meaning. Evil cannot go unpunished, never settle for mediocrity. Never forget that the dawn will one day come. Diluc's solitary sojourn lasted for 3 years. 4 years on, Diluc had returned to Mondstadt and taken over as head of the family winery, now a young man. In the space of these 4 years, Iraq had been purged from the Knights of Favonius after being shown to be a traitor, while Grand Master Varka had left on an expedition, leaving Master Jane to assume the role of acting Grand Master. The return of the Dawn Winery's master should have been a momentous occasion for Mondstadt, but strangely it went completely unnoticed. The reason? Mondstadt's citizens were far too busy pondering the mysterious case of an unknown guardian of Mondstadt. All that was known about the anonymous guardian was that the smell of burning would follow in his wake, and that a flash of red flames would reveal his silhouette for but a moment in the darkness of the night before he disappeared in an instant. The bodies of monsters that had plagued Mondstadt for an age now lay dead in the wilderness. Mondstadt's most wanted thieves suddenly appeared bound and gagged, hanging from their feet in the statue's plaza. All the Knights of Favonius were dispatched to reckon, once and for all, with the Abyss Mage behind countless crimes in the city, but they arrived only to discover that he had long since been killed. Aided by wine-fueled conversations, word of the mysterious guardian spread swiftly, and he came to be known as the Dark Knight Hero. In public, Diluc appeared to hold this hero in contempt, his face curling up in disgust every time the name was uttered. Elzer of the Mondstadt Wine Guild was one of the select few who was in the know, and once queried Diluc about this. Was his disapproval of the Dark Knight Hero just an act, intended to throw knights off his trail and protect his anonymity? But Diluc simply frowned once more and curtly replied, "It's just a stupid name." Diluc may hold the whole wine industry in the palm of his hand, but he himself is not fond of wine. At Diluc's request, the Dawn Winery developed several alcohol-free beverages, a decision which was met with resounding approval from those in Mondstadt who could not drink alcohol but still wanted to partake in the drinking culture. One of those alcohol-free beverages is Mondstadt's apple cider, the success of which is on a par with dandelion wine in terms of monthly sales volumes. Some think that Diluc must have such high standards when it comes to wine that he is never seen drinking the mediocre quality beverages. Others think that drinking wine must surely remind him of his father, and that is why he does not touch it. When pressed about his drinking habits, he responds by saying that alcohol clouds his thoughts, and consuming it would impact his day-to-day work. But the thing that people don't understand is, what kind of day-to-day work does a winery master do if it requires him to never touch a drop of alcohol? Krepus had 2 regrets in life. One was never becoming a knight, and the other was never obtaining a vision. For this reason, in the moment that Diluc received his vision, He took it as a recognition by the gods of his and his father's shared ambition. Finally, he could make his father proud. Just a few years later, his father died on a dark and gloomy day. The hopes and dreams that burned bright in Diluc's vision were extinguished in the torrential rain that fell on that night. No matter how upright and good-hearted a person may be, death will still come to them without warning. Is this where the tale of justice ends, just like that? It seemed to him that his vision and his status as a knight were both equally ineffectual at enabling him to protect the things that he treasured most. It was time to discard them both, he decided. When he recognized his own powerlessness, his vision became but a burden, of no greater service than a delusion. Empty titles were of no interest to him. He sought after ardent flames that would burn brighter than any other, and an unshakable resolve. Only a firm resolve can drive the truth, seeker forward, and only ardent flames can vanquish the ice that freeze, is the hand of justice. On the day that Diluc returned to Mondstadt, he took up his vision once more. The events of his years away had purged him of his childish immaturity, and turned him into a hero ready to shoulder his father's will once more. Each night from the shadows he fought for Mondstadt. He did not discuss the past, but he did not deny the past either. To the lost, perhaps a vision is a beacon of light given by the gods to help them find the path forward. But to those with conviction, a vision is simply an extension of their strength, a medium for channeling their willpower, a tribute to the experiences that have shaped them, and a testament to the story of their life so far. Diluc of Mondstadt. Not interested in idle chit-chat. If you have things you want to get done, let me know.
We should prepare while we can, then make a preemptive strike against the enemy. Let's take a moment to rest and plan our next move. Every course of action has its risks. Be careful.
I don't need an umbrella, but you can use one if you need. Rain, if only you could cleanse the corrupt souls of this world. Listen, as long as you stick to your own path, it doesn't matter what Mother Nature throws at you. Some use the wind's whistling to drown out the sound of their crimes. No need for small talk. All that matters is that you were safe last night. Would you like to try the secret menu? Night has fallen. All right, see you next time. I'll make sure you leave safely. The legend of the Dark Knight hero. An interesting rumor. Just say the word if you need anything. For reimbursements, ask Elzer. You have already proven your determination. Well then, it is now time for you to witness my resolve. Visions are a light in the sea of darkness that surrounds those who have lost their way. But for those who have faith, they are little more than badges of conviction. Occasionally I'll work the bar at Angel's Share. The tavern is known for being the center of information in Mondstadt. What? Why do you ask? It's an owl, quietly watching its prey from the darkness, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Flawless. Kaya, you can only trust half of what he says, at best. I believe Lisa has the potential to become the most reliable of the knights, if she's willing. Trifling matters can become Jean's greatest enemy. Her unparalleled sense of responsibility is the sole reason why she still hasn't found her true calling. The land of Mondstadt, by the Animo Archon's grace, is bountiful. I see no need for the harvest forecasts of astrologers. Diona's attitude towards me is, how should I put it, rather rigid. I've yet to find the opportunity to speak with her properly. I'm not sure if it's an issue with my family line or... Oh? It's not? She simply despises alcohol? I never thought I'd come across another bartender like myself in Mondstadt. Grandmaster Varka. While I understand his disposition, I can make no sense of his actions. I've said too much already. I've long since left the Knights of Favonius. Forget I said anything.
Ah, yes. I've heard about her. She has her own convictions. Her determination to liberate herself from the shackles of her clan is praiseworthy. But she's joined the Knights of Favonius.
You have business to attend to? Huh? Knights of Favonius? I have nothing to say about them. We have different views, is all. It's been a long while since I played chess with anyone but my butler. I just so happen to have a moment. Care to play around? Checkmate. Still, it's been a while since someone tested me this much. Not bad. Be it chess or combat, you always seem to surprise me. Working with you is quite the novelty. So, I look forward to continuing to work with you, partner. The artwork in the manor? It's not mine. It's a collection that belonged to my late father. The darkness that seethes with evil, full of demons that must be vanquished, will take more than a blade to be torn asunder. You want to know what's in my glass? It's grape juice, my drink of choice. I don't like alcohol. It's just... I don't like how it feels in my mouth.
Oh, exquisite, unforgettable flavors. I can see the chef put their heart into this one. A fine dish.
Thanks. Happy birthday. This is an important day for you. So tell me, what is it you wish for? If it is within my power to bestow it upon you, I will give it my consideration. Power is necessary if we are to meet our objectives. What lies in wait for us? I rarely stop to think about it. No matter what dares to stand in my way, I must press forward. I've become stronger. Though it is still not enough, I will always face the darkness. For dawn to come, there must be those who dare to pierce the darkness with their light. I used to believe, if I was to stamp out evil, I would have to walk alone in darkness. However, seeing your perseverance, I know I was wrong. Friend, I owe you my thanks.
Huh? Yeah! Ah! Flames, purge! Lay waste to the wicked! Dawn, break forth!
Better than nothing. I suppose this will do. We'll need more where that came from.
Is that all you've got? Damn you! You will pay for that. Careful! I see. Don't burn yourself out. Retreat!
Where did I go wrong? There can be no excuse or defeat. My flame has been extinguished. Let's go. What's our objective? Let's finish this, swiftly.